Welcome to the first presentation from our Fall 2018 Faculty Development Workshop. I'm Lindsay Mason, the Director of Faculty Services, and I'll be talking a little bit about Instructor Presence in an online course. Many of the ideas today come from a book titled Humanizing Online Teaching and Learning by Whitney Kilgore, PhD. This is an open educational resource, and it's found here at this link, and it's linked to below as well. It's a great resource, and I highly recommend taking a look. So what is the secret to a successful online class? In a word, presence. You create and sustain instructor presence by building community. Garrison Anderson Archer created the idea of a community of inquiry in an online course. The community of inquiry provides a framework for understanding how community can exist within that online environment. Teaching presence, social presence, and cognitive presence are the essential components of the model. Here's a graphic that shows how social presence, cognitive presence, and teaching presence all work together to create an educational experience. It's not about passing the exams or completing the assignments week to week. It's about creating something for the students that will last a lifetime. As instructors, we do this by selecting content, setting the climate, and supporting discourse. The key to presence in an online course is visibility. In a completely online instructional environment, instructor visibility is absolutely critical. Students need to know that the instructor is attending to them even though they do not meet in that face-to-face classroom. According to the 7 principles for practice in higher education, the first principle is frequent student-faculty contact in and out of classes is the most important factor in student motivation and involvement. And this is from researchers publishing in 1987, before online learning. So this is a principle of higher education more generally. There's no difference between a face-to-face and an online course. The principle still applies. Now let's see how to enhance the student-faculty contact through teacher, social, and cognitive presence. What is teacher presence? Teacher presence is setting the climate for learning through communication, feedback, and guidance. So first you have to communicate to students clearly and effectively what your expectations are for the course. And second, you would have to give either individual or group feedback on whether students have surpassed, met, or failed to meet those expectations. Lastly, you give guidance to students who failed to meet those expectations on how they can improve moving forward. One way to maximize teacher presence is through direct facilitation techniques. Directed facilitation includes the following things: drawing in participants, maybe by getting students to comment on each other's work when it's not even required for a grade. Creating an accepted climate for learning. One of the things that you'll find on all of your syllabi is a netiquette section that talks all about respectful and kind communication online. Keeping students on track with, for example, weekly due dates so they always know what's due that week. Diagnosing misperceptions. Maybe make an impromptu video when a majority of students make the same mistake on a quiz or in a paper. And then finding consensus in areas of disagreement, maybe by participating in a discussion thread between 2 students. Here are some more examples. You can set the climate of your class through introductions and frequent announcements using the homepage. You can encourage through detailed and timely feedback. You can acknowledge the struggle of some online students by relating to personal experience of struggle. When did you struggle and how did you get through it? You can affirm concepts through current illustrations. You can focus and summarize discussions by providing links to contemporary sources of evidence. The second type of presence in the community of inquiry is social presence. Social presence is especially vital to online education where there's marked distance between instructors and students. According to Nagel and Coetzee in 2010, social presence indicates the feeling of belonging to the community. A sense of closeness results from such active social presence. There are three important aspects of social presence. First, engaging instruction. You might achieve this through Meet Your Instructor videos at the beginning of the term, videos showing especially your face, your facial expressions, or even adding in videos with your dogs or your cats, your fireplace, have a nice fireplace chat, or your favorite spot beside the Olentangy River. Anytime that you can add these video or voice responses to individual assignments or to further elaborate some point will be helpful. Also including news items. It's a nice way to say hello in the digital environment to your students. The second aspect of social presence is open communication. Let your students get to know you a little bit. After students introduce themselves, for example, in the Introduce Yourself discussion forum, take a moment and welcome each student individually. Maybe even try asking them a question related to something they talked about in their introductions so that you can further engage those students. The third way to increase social presence is through group connectedness. So group connectedness encourages communication across students as well as ensuring students know that you're teaching the course in real time. It's not some quote-unquote canned course that is being taught by a robot, right? That's what students want to see. So connection is more than student empathy for one another. Instead, it becomes a vital tool necessary for successful navigation through the learning experience. Back to that idea of creating an educational experience for students. Learning is essentially a social activity. It's our job to create a close and connected environment of trust that allows students to take the intellectual leaps necessary for deep understanding. And in this connection, emotions matter. When discussing the instructor's social presence, it is an emotional projection that makes the instructor more human and personable. Emotions aren't bad. Emotions make us human, and it's our humanity coming through online that builds connection. The third type of presence in the community of inquiry is cognitive presence. Cognitive presence is the extent to which the participants in any particular configuration of a community of inquiry are able to construct meaning through sustained communication. Cognitive presence is evident when students purposefully and collaboratively construct meaning, resulting in deep understanding, retained knowledge, and critical thinking. Notice, this is important, the purpose of the instructor's cognitive presence is to encourage deeper thinking in the students. Here are some tools for faculty and students to create cognitive presence. First, faculty sets high expectations for student inquiry and expectations in the course. Students are expected to seek and find at times on their own, rather than simply memorize and regurgitate. Faculty evaluate student responses and provide feedback or questions that encourage further thought and analysis of ideas. It's a great idea when a student shows interest in a topic in that comment box on a Dropbox or when you're giving feedback for a discussion forum. Just say, hey, here's another article that I read recently about the topic that you're interested in, and allow them to explore that topic on their own with your guidance. Learners participate thoughtfully in the discussions, responding to content, thoughts, and questions from other learners so that a sustained communication occurs. And lastly, Faculty and students together strive to ensure that project outcomes are relevant, long-lasting, and authentic. Think about that idea of authentic assignments. What can we do to make our assignments more authentic for learners these days, going to a work environment that exists today? And notice here again, half or more of the responsibilities here fall squarely on the shoulders of the learner. So how do we work, again, in our online courses to convey this responsibility to students, to let students know that, we're there to facilitate the learning, but the learner is there to do the learning? And finally, the glue that holds all of these together, the thing that will really be able to express your expectations, will be able to give the students the idea of who you are as a person, and also build that foundation for cognitive presence, is the weekly instructor video. And so in the next presentation, Rick Lotzenheiser will discuss creating dynamic videos in your online courses. Thank you.